Hello, and welcome to the Fast Book Pod channel, where you'll find the best book summaries. You'll watch book summaries just like watching a movie. Don't forget to subscribe and like the videos for in-depth reviews of great books. Let's get to the book summaries.
Let me tell you the story of a family who believed that if they worked hard enough, they would survive anything, and who slowly discovered that hard work means nothing in a system designed to crush you. The Grapes of Wrath is a novel by John Steinbeck, published in 1939. It is set during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, when thousands of farming families were forced off their land in Oklahoma and surrounding states. Through the journey of the Joad family, Steinbeck tells a story about poverty, injustice, migration, dignity, and the slow awakening of collective resistance. The novel begins with a land. The Oklahoma plains are dying. Drought has hardened the soil, and massive dust storms roll across the fields, blotting out the sky. Crops fail again and again. The earth that once fed families turns against them. But nature is only part of the problem. Banks and large companies begin repossessing farms. Tenant farmers who have worked the land for generations are told to leave because they cannot pay their debts. Tractors replace men. The system becomes mechanical and impersonal. Among these displaced farmers are the Joads. We first meet Tom Joad as he walks down a dusty road toward his family's farm. He has just been released from prison after serving 4 years for killing a man in a fight he insists was self-defense. He is cautious but hopeful, eager to return home. On the road, he meets Jim Casy, a former preacher who has lost faith in traditional religion. Casy no longer believes in sin the way churches define it. Instead, he believes that all people are part of one big soul, that what happens to one person affects everyone. This idea, simple but powerful, becomes the moral foundation of the novel. When Tom reaches his family's farm, he finds it abandoned. The house stands empty, doors open, silence everywhere. The bank has taken the land. The family has moved in with Uncle John nearby, preparing to leave for California. They have seen handbills promising jobs, picking fruit, good wages, and a fresh start. California becomes their dream. Green fields, opportunity, hope. Tom reunites with his family. Pos Joad, who once led the household with quiet authority. Mas Joad, steady and strong. Grandpa and Grandma Joad, Uncle John. Tom's siblings, Noah, Al, Rose of Sharon, Ruthie, and Winfield. And Connie, Rose of Sharon's husband. Rose of Sharon is pregnant, and her unborn child represents a future they desperately want to believe in. The family sells almost everything they own and buys a used truck. They load it with mattresses, pots, tools, and their remaining belongings. Then they join thousands of others heading west along Route 66. The journey is long and brutal. The heat is relentless. The truck breaks down. Money disappears quickly. Along the road, they meet other migrant families who share the same story. Farms lost, debts unpaid, California imagined as salvation. But rumors begin to spread. Too many workers are heading west. The handbills were printed in massive numbers. There are far more laborers than jobs. Grandpa dies soon after they leave Oklahoma, unable to survive the emotional shock of losing his land. They bury him by the roadside. Later, Grandma dies quietly during the desert crossing into California. Her death kept secret for hours so the family can continue moving. Each mile west costs them something. When they finally reach California, the illusion shatters. Instead of welcome, they face suspicion and hostility. Locals call them Okies, even if they aren't from Oklahoma. Migrants are seen as dirty, ignorant, and dangerous. Police harass them constantly. Camps are overcrowded and unsanitary. Work is scarce, and wages are far lower than promised. There are thousands of desperate workers willing to accept almost any pay. If one refuses, another will take his place. Growers use this competition to drive wages down to survival levels. Steinbeck alternates between chapters about the Joads and broader chapters that describe the collective suffering of migrant families. These interchapters expand the story beyond one family and show that what is happening is not isolated tragedy, but widespread crisis. At one farm, the Joads are hired to pick fruit. Only later do they learn they were brought in to replace striking workers demanding higher wages. Tension fills the air. Armed guards patrol the fields. Here, Tom reunites with Jim Casy. Casy has evolved. He now believes that preaching is not enough. People must organize. He is helping workers form groups to demand fair treatment. He sees clearly that the problem is not laziness or fate, it is exploitation. Violence erupts when guards attack the strikers. In the chaos, Casy is struck and killed. His death is quiet but profound. Before he dies, he speaks about unity, about the need for people to stand together. Tom, overwhelmed with grief and rage, kills one of the attackers and becomes a fugitive once more. This is the turning point in his character. At the beginning of the novel, Tom cared mainly about staying out of trouble and protecting himself. Now, Casy's ideas begin to take root. Tom starts to understand that his family's suffering is part of a larger injustice. Meanwhile, the Joad family continues moving from job to job. Connie abandons Rose of Sharon, unable to cope with hardship. Noah drifts away earlier, quietly separating from the group. Tom Joad becomes increasingly uncertain. His authority fading as he fails to provide stability. She becomes the emotional center of the family. When others argue or despair, she remains calm. She insists that they must stay together. For her, survival is about unity. As long as they remain a family, they have something that cannot be taken. For a brief time, the Joads stay at a government trunk camp called Weed Patch. Unlike other camps, it is clean and self-governed. Residents elect committees and create rules. Police cannot enter without cause. There is music and dancing. Dignity returns, even if only temporarily. Weed Patch shows what is possible when migrants are treated as human beings. But even here, there is not enough work. The family must leave again. As the novel progresses, Steinbeck emphasizes the cruel irony of abundance. California's fields overflow with produce. Fruit rots on the ground, yet migrants starve. Steinbeck describes oranges soaked in kerosene and dumped, so prices remain high. Potatoes are thrown into rivers while children cry from hunger. The system protects profit, not people. The title, The Grapes of Wrath, suggests anger ripening slowly. Wrath builds among the hungry and exploited. Steinbeck implies that such injustice cannot last forever without consequence. After Casy's death, Tom hides from authorities. In a powerful scene, he says goodbye to Ma. He tells her that he plans to continue Casy's work, to fight for workers' rights and stand wherever people struggle for justice. He explains that even if she cannot see him, he will be there wherever someone is fighting against oppression. Tom transforms from an individual into a symbol. The novel moves toward its devastating conclusion. The Joads find temporary work, picking cotton, and live in a boxcar. Then heavy rains begin. Floodwaters rise. Their shelter becomes unsafe. Food grows scarce again. Rose of Sharon goes into labor prematurely. The baby is stillborn. This loss feels like the death of hope itself. The promise of a new generation vanishes. The family faces emotional and physical exhaustion. Seeking shelter from the flood, they find a barn where a starving man and his young son have taken refuge. The man is dying. He is too weak to eat solid food. Without nourishment, he will not survive. In the final scene, Rose of Sharon makes a quiet, extraordinary choice. Having lost her baby, she offers to breastfeed the starving man. It is an intimate, shocking act, one of pure human compassion. The novel ends there. There is no dramatic victory. No land regained, no wealth achieved, but there is dignity. There is solidarity. In the face of systemic cruelty, human kindness remains possible. Throughout the novel, Steinbeck criticizes not individuals, but economic systems. The bank is described almost as a monster, something that operates beyond personal morality. Even the men who drive tractors are trapped by the same forces. The Dust Bowl becomes more than environmental disaster. It symbolizes uprooting and instability. The road west becomes a modern migration epic. The fields of California become battlegrounds between labor and capital. At the beginning, the characters think in terms of I and mine. By the end, the language shifts to we. Jim Casy's belief that all people share one big soul influences Tom and echoes through the story. The Joads lose their farm, their home, and even members of their family. But they gain awareness. They learn that survival is collective. They learn that dignity comes not from ownership, but from connection. The Grapes of Wrath remains powerful because its themes are timeless. Migration, inequality, exploitation, economic instability. These are not confined to the 1930s. In the end, Steinbeck leaves us with a question. When systems fail, what remains? His answer is simple: human solidarity. And that is what makes this novel unforgettable.
It was a very good book. Did you like it too? You can write your thoughts in the comments section. See you in the next summary.